Hi, I'm Joy Oakley. I'm a holistic wellbeing coach, a yoga teacher, and I co-run the MoreMind Project with Dr. Stephanie Minchin here at MoreYoga. And I'm going to be taking you through some exercises and some techniques to help you better support your emotional well-being over the next few weeks, over the next few months, during this difficult and uncertain time. So today we are going to be focusing on acceptance and anchoring to acceptance to better support our mental health and emotional well-being. So what you'll need for this practice is a notebook, a pen and paper, or something to write on and with, a comfortable place to sit, and ideally somewhere private where you can practice these exercises. So grab those things, and when you're ready, meet me back here. You can pause the video in the meantime. And when you're ready, take a comfortable seat and bring the palms down to rest on the knees. And we'll begin with a grounding meditation. So closing the eyes, bowing the head, and beginning to bring your awareness to your breath. Breathing into the nose and out through the nose. Into the nose, out through the nose. Continuing to breathe and noticing how your breath is behaving in your body. Anchoring your full awareness to your breath and finding a comfortable rhythm. Just noticing any distractions around you, sounds, thoughts. Mentally checking those distractions outside of the door and giving yourself permission to be here and to become completely present for this practice. And when you're ready, taking a deep breath in and a long breath out. Slowly blinking the eyes open. Taking your notebook, pen or your paper. And the exercises that we'll be going through today are really based around self-reflection and journaling. If you're new to journaling and writing or self-expression, please remember that this exercise is a personal practice. So nobody else is going to see what you're writing unless you invite them to. And this is really an opportunity to be authentic and to just connect back to your feelings, allow things to come up if they come up. You might feel emotional throughout this practice. And just remember that that's okay. It's okay to connect with those emotions. So I'm going to take you through three techniques, three practices today. And our first practice is anchored around self-acceptance. The Dalai Lama famously said that we can never obtain peace with the outer world until we obtain peace within ourselves. And we're going to work on that today. So this first exercise is a journaling exercise. I'm going to ask you three questions and I invite you to answer them as authentically and as openly as possible. If you need any more time with any of these questions, please pause the video and then rejoin when you're ready. We're going to take about 10 minutes on each of the practices, but you could spend hours if you had them and if you needed more time on each of these sections. So please don't feel limited by the time that this video is. Please feel free to stop and start and come back to things if you need to as well. So coming to our first question. I find it difficult to accept these things about myself. I find it difficult to accept these things about myself. So really reflecting on, considering the things that you find difficult, the things you struggle with accepting about yourself. And you might answer this in a list, you might scribble the answers down on a page, whatever feels more comfortable for you. I find it difficult to accept these things about myself. And this might be personality traits that you struggle with. It might be the parts of you feel hold you back in some way. Perhaps the parts of you that you struggle with in relationships with others as well. Just remembering that we all have goods and bads in all of us. We all have different sides of our personality, and actually practicing self-acceptance is a really powerful act of self-care and can help us to cultivate a more compassionate relationship with ourselves and move towards a more loving relationship with ourselves as well. So if you need some more time, just pause the video now. Otherwise, we'll move on to our second question in this exercise. In order to move forwards, I will forgive myself for. So really thinking about forgiveness as a tool here. In order to move forwards, I will forgive myself for. What can you forgive yourself for in order to move forwards? This could be something in the past. It could be something you struggle with. In order to move forwards, I will forgive myself for. Just as an example, I have come to accept that even though I'm a yoga teacher and a holistic wellbeing coach and I meditate daily, I know that I still have a short fuse when it comes to some situations. And that's something that I have really learned to accept about myself and learn to love as, you know, being fiery and passionate. So the way that I have come to accept this part of my personality is through forgiveness, through forgiving myself for the ways I have dealt with this in the past. So you can either pause the video now if you need a bit more time, or just finishing off that second question. In order to move forwards, I will forgive myself for. And coming to our third question in this section of our practice. This is a tough one. I love myself for. And this question can actually be a harder question to reflect on than that first one. It's very easy to focus on the things that we struggle with about ourselves than the things that we actually love about ourselves. It's something we're often taught in society as well. Focus on your flaws instead of celebrating all the wonderful things about you. So what I'd really like you to do is take this opportunity to focus on things you love about yourself, your skills, how you are as a person. And if you are struggling with this practice, I would suggest thinking about how your best friend might answer this for you, or perhaps someone you love, a partner, a pet. How would somebody who loves you answer this question? I love myself for. To give an example, I used to really beat myself up for dropping my notebook in classes or falling over bolsters when I was running workshops, but I actually love myself for being a little bit goofy sometimes and not taking life too seriously. So, taking as long as you need for this question and really writing down as many things as you can here as well. It's so powerful to practice more self-appreciation, more self-compassion and more self-care to move towards creating a more loving relationship with yourself. So if you need a little bit more time on this question, pause the video here. Otherwise, let's finish by just taking a deep breath in and a long breath out. Let's do 2 more of those. Deep breath in. Exhale, let go. 1 more deep inhale. And a long sigh out on the exhale. Well done. So moving into the second exercise of our practice today. And this is all about relinquishing control of the things that we do not have complete control of, accepting the things that we can't control, and working towards creating a new relationship with these things as well, the things that maybe hold us back or stop us from moving forwards in our lives and moving towards a healthier emotional relationship with ourselves as well. So coming to our second section, what I would like you to do now is start a new page in your journal or take a new piece of paper and write down all the things that are worrying you at the moment, all the things on your mind, things you're uncertain about, or things that maybe are affecting your mental health, things that are worrying you. If you're an anxious person, I suffer with generalized anxiety, I often get into a spiral of worries. This is something that I work with a lot of my clients to help them to create a healthier relationship with the things that they're worried about. So by writing all of these things down, and you could scribble this or you could just make a list, we're effectively taking all of those worries out of our heads and putting them down on paper. This can be really helpful. It's a way of kind of emptying your mind of all of the things that are worrying you, and in turn, putting them into perspective as well. So we'll take a moment or two here just to focus on reflecting and being completely honest with yourself about the things that are worrying you at the moment, and getting all of those things out of your head and onto that blank sheet in front of you. Okay, if you need a little bit more time here, please do pause the video. Otherwise, what I would like you to do next is to circle the 3 things on that list or on that page that are worrying you the most. So your top 3 points of worry, if you will. So the 3 things that are most affecting your emotional well-being at the moment. And once you have found those 3 things, and remember, no rush here at all, what I would like you to do is take a new sheet of paper in your book and separate it into 3 columns and 3 sections. So 3 columns all the way down and 3 sections all the way across. And what we are going to do here, I have a lovely example here for you, please forgive my terribly crazy writing, is we are going to write down those 3 focuses of your worry, those 3 things that you're worrying about at the moment, and then we're going to make a row for each of those with 2 columns. So 3 columns in total and 3 rows in total. So at the top of your first column, please write my worry. In the top of your second column, write, can I control this? Can I control this? And at the top of your third column, please write, how can I approach this differently with acceptance? How can I approach this differently with acceptance? So once you have your chart, if you will, you have your 3 things that are worrying you, and then your rows across. And we're going to work through these rows together. And this exercise is really all about relinquishing control. So coming to our first column, looking at those 3 things you're worried about, I'd like you to look and answer whether you can control this. So answering really honestly, can I control this? And I'll take you through the examples I have from when I practiced this on myself earlier. So my first worry at the moment is all about work and income, which I'm sure is affecting so many of us at the moment, if not all of us, during this time. Can I control this? To a degree. I can control this to a degree. Some parts are out of my hands, but I can control this to a degree because I'm able to take some of my work online. My second worry is my relationship with my body during this time. Can I control this? Yes, I can control this. Relationship with my body is really something that I have full power over. And my final third worry is around COVID-19 and the pandemic at the moment, which I'm sure is really affecting all of us on an emotional and mental level as well. Can I control this? No, I can't control it. What I can control is my approach. So take your time on that first column and answer the question, can I control this for each of those 3 worries? Can I control this? Either pausing the video here, taking your time, or if you're ready, you can move on to the next section. So your third column, how can I approach this differently with more acceptance? How can I approach this differently and with more acceptance? And I will take you through those 3 examples. So how could I approach work and income with more acceptance, with more positivity? I could look at alternative ways to boost my income at the moment, taking things online. I could perhaps research courses I could do to learn or improve my skill set in some way. I could do some research on the HMRC website, for example. Those are some positive ways that I can approach this differently, rather than panicking and allowing that worry to really take hold of me and affect my emotional health in a negative way. Secondly, my relationship with my body. I have full control of this as it's an internal relationship I have with myself. So what are the things that I could do to approach this differently with more acceptance? So I may not be able to teach 3 classes a day as I normally do at home, but I can commit to 1 hour of movement and exercise per day. I could perhaps look at my eating habits. I could take some of the free time I have at the moment to learn how to cook new recipes or do some research about diet. I could perhaps unfollow some social media accounts that negatively impact my body image in a certain way. So really taking this time to explore the different ways you could approach these things. And finally, for me, COVID-19, how are some ways I can approach this differently with acceptance? I can't control this situation, but I can choose to stay at home. I can choose to connect with my friends and family to make sure that I'm not losing contact with those people that make me feel safe, make me feel connected, the people I love during this time. I could maybe practice gratitude for all the things I do have during this time to be grateful for. So taking the next few moments just to really reflect on that final question of this exercise. How can I approach this differently with more acceptance? Going to give you about 30 more seconds just to finalize this final question in this section of our practice today. If you do need longer, remembering you can pause the video at any point and take as long as you need to answer these sections fully. So when you are ready, just putting down anything you're holding and just bringing your hands back onto your knees. We're going to take 3 deep breaths before we move on to our final exercise in our practice. Let's take 3 deep breaths together. Breathing into the nose, filling the lungs. Exhale, open the mouth, let go. Inhale, filling the lungs, full capacity of the breath. Exhale, letting go. Taking a last full breath in, deepest breath of the day. Open the mouth, let it go. Blink the eyes open if they're closed. And let's come to our final practice. And this section is really all about setting intentions that you can take away from our exercises today. You can take off your mat and take out with you into the days, every day of the week. So I'm going to ask you 3 questions here that I invite you to set 3 intentions around. The first is focusing on forgiveness, the second on self-care or self-love, and the third on acceptance. So grabbing your notebook or your paper and pen and answering the following intention. I forgive you for. I forgive you for. If you're struggling with this intention, you might like to just look back on our first practice, that second question. In order to move forwards, I will forgive myself for. Perhaps there was one particular focus of that exercise that you really resonated with, something that you felt really strongly about. I forgive you for. Second intention. Because I love you, I will. Because I love you, I will. Because I love you, I will. And with this intention, considering how you could act with more self-care. How can you act more lovingly? How can you cultivate more compassion towards yourself through this intention? Because I love you, I will. What could you practice this week, today, to support this intention? Because I love you, I will. When you're ready, we'll come to our final intention. I accept, and I will approach it with. So filling in the blanks. I accept, and I will approach it with. So perhaps looking back over that first exercise again, I find it difficult to accept these things about myself. We're coming back to that question. And completing this final intention, I accept, and I will approach it with. If you need to pause the video and take a little bit more time, please do. Otherwise, what I would suggest with these 3 intentions to take away with you from your practice today is to write these down on a post-it note or a piece of paper, pop them up on a mirror or somewhere in your home that you see every day. If you are working and leaving the house, if you're working for the NHS or in any kind of service at the moment that is so desperately needed, you could perhaps put this on the back of your phone and save it as a screensaver. So really reminding yourself of what those 3 intentions are daily, and committing to these 3 things to better support your emotional well-being during this time. We're going to close our practice now, and what I invite you to do is find another comfortable seat again, and this time let's bring the hands over the heart and closing the eyes down, bowing the head. Bringing your awareness back to your breath. Just breathing slowly in and out of the nose. And gently guiding your awareness to the space at your heart, where the hands are resting. And I invite you to bring into this space something you are grateful for. Something you are grateful for today. Something that brings you joy. Something that lights you up. Something you are grateful for. And really breathing into that sensation of gratitude. Imagine it filling your heart space, filling your chest, filling your entire body, every single cell, breathing into that sensation. If your mind begins to wander, just anchoring your focus back to that focus of your gratitude. Keeping the eyes closed, keeping the head bowed. Just beginning to anchor your focus back to your breathing, into the nose and out of the nose. And we'll close our practice today with a prayer. Grant me serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Grant me courage to change the things that I can. And grant me the wisdom to appreciate the difference. Keeping the eyes closed but lifting your heads. And let's bring the thumbs, your prayer, to the space between the eyebrows. Taking a breath in for wisdom. Exhaling out. Bringing your prayer to rest at your lips. As a reminder to speak your authentic truth. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. And finally, bringing your prayer to rest back at your heart space. As a reminder to always live with gratitude. Take a deep breath in. And let the exhale go. And only when you're ready, slowly begin to blink the eyes open. Namaste.